Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this very, very, very special webinar. I'm so excited to be with you tonight, and it's definitely going to be a great one. And congratulations for making it for this webinar. And today we're going to be talking about something very, very special, something life changing, something mind blowing. And I would love to urge you to get your jotters, get your pen, and you're ready to write because it's going to be so disruptive. So if you're excited, I want to see on your comment section. I want to see your excitement on the comment section, even as we dive deeper. Okay, just some quick checks in before we dive deeper. Get your bottle of water by your side, get your pen by your side, and of course, your notebook, your book, because it's going to be a masterclass and you don't want to miss every single phrase, sentence, paragraph. You don't want to miss anything because this is going to be power packed, so great for you to take note of it because after this, lives are going to be transformed, impacted for good. And again, if you're currently in this webinar or you're just joining, I just want to let you know 3 things that you're going to learn. I can assure you that these things, if you stay through the end, you're going to go out with these 3 things. Number one, if you're bored right now, if you're uninspired right now, if you're not hopeful right now, that's one thing that is for sure. You're going to gain your hope after this webinar. Number two, if you're currently doing a job you don't like right now, at the end of the day, you're going to know exactly what to do in order to get out of that toxic environment or that job you don't like doing. And number three is that you are going to develop strength, strategies, ideas, what it takes to start doing what you truly love to do. And that means that you're going to pack all the old life, the old thoughts, the old ideas that they have not been working and throw them away and gather back your life and go for your dream and go for your visions and go and live your purpose. If that is something that you expect, then at the end of this webinar, that is what is going to happen. So these are the 3 things. Number one, you're going to be inspired and fire up. Not only that motivation. Number two, you're going to know exactly what to do as from now to get out of that environment, that job, that company, that organization that is not meeting your expectations and your needs in a very graceful way, not in a radical way, but in a very smooth way. It's a smooth transition we're talking about here. That doesn't mean that you're going to quit your job immediately after this webinar. After this webinar, nobody's going to quit his or her job. Take note, but you're going to know what it takes to quit your job, okay? Nobody's going to quit the job after this, but you know exactly how to do that moving forward. And most importantly, you're going to develop the mental toughness, the emotional strength. You're going to master the strategies, the methodology, and of course, the framework it takes to land your dream job and, of course, to do what you're going to do. All right. So, without any wastage of time, if you're excited, let me know from the comment section, even as we dive deeper. Okay. So, this is so exciting. We're going to bring all the comments. All right. So, thank you so much. Bella is already live and she is ready with her notes and of course, and we're good to go. All right, all right. Once again, welcome everybody. So, like I said, how to successfully exit your job. So remember, we're talking about how to successfully exit your job, not to radically exit your job. How to successfully exit your job. All right. So you're going to exit your job that you don't really like doing, but successfully, not radically, or not in the way that you regret after, because we have bunch of people every single day, every single month, every single week that they resign their jobs on yearly basis. And guess what? At the end of the day, they regret. They regret that, oh my gosh, if I knew I could have resigned, if I knew I could have quit. But it's too late. So how do you resign and you don't regret? That's what we're going to be looking at today, all right? The whole of this webinar is about how do you resign and you don't regret. You don't fall in the queue of people that resign and don't want to come back and work, and they're so frustrated after they resign. So we're going to be helping you not to regret after resigning. And that is what we're saying, successful resigning, not just any kind of resigning or radical resignation. Okay. So before we dive deeper, if you know somebody who does not, who needs to be part of this webinar, I will urge you to share this link with that person to join. We are only on YouTube. We're not on Facebook. The only platform we are on tonight is YouTube. So some people may not have access to it if they are not part of this, if they did not register. And so if you know somebody who needs to hear this information, I will urge you to register, to share the link with the person so that you can watch together with the person, even as we dive deeper. All right. How to successfully exit your job. All right. How to successfully exit your job. And again, if it's a job you love doing, you don't need to successfully exit it. Okay. You don't need to exit it. You keep on doing it. If you love doing it, if you feel like that's your mission, that's your purpose on earth, do it. Because what I'm doing right now, coaching speakers, training speakers globally in different countries of the world, is what I feel like is my purpose of existence. That's what I was going to do. So I cannot say that I want to successfully exit it. Okay. Okay. So that is what I love to do. And that's what I'm going to be doing with my life. So how to successfully exit your job. I want to start with a story. So many years ago, I was working in an organization, and one day I did a report, and my supervisor said, Oliver, you have to redo this report again. And I knew that was my best shot. You know, he was like, you have to redo this report again. After he reviewed the report, he asked me to redo it again and all that. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Okay. I was doing the report again, and I did it, I sent, he validated it. But when I received that email, I was like, is this really what I want to be doing with my life? Is this really what I want to do with the rest of my life? And of course, the answer was no. I was doing what I was doing because it was a platform for me to get to where I was going to. I was doing what I was doing because I had to put food on the table. Right, my children were expecting for me, my wife was expecting for me. So I was doing what I was doing because I had no option, I had no alternative on what I could do to be able to survive as a family leader, you know. And that's why I had to do it. So when I received that email, I was like, this really what I want to do for the rest of my life on earth? And the answer was, like I said, of course, no. And I know that you may be watching me right now and you have been asking these questions. Maybe something happened to your office, or maybe your supervisor had a conversation with you, maybe not out of arrogance, but out of sincerity, because at times the worst thing we can do to ourselves is to be dishonest with ourselves. And one of the ways that a lot of people are dishonest with themselves is that they are not able to accept the reality. They are not able to accept that this is what I truly want to be doing with my life. This is what I love to do. That is a fact that you must learn to accept it, because the moment you don't accept that this is who I am, this is the reality, this is the truth about myself, this is what my passion is, this is what I really love to do, this is what I feel like I was born to do. The moment you don't accept that, you will spend all your life fighting with your calling, fighting with your purpose, fighting with God, because God brought you here on earth. I want to make this very clear. You are on earth for a mission, for a purpose, for an assignment bigger than you. And there is no reason why you should be fidgeting, trying to do things that you are not born to do them. I repeat that again. I want to make that clear. You are on earth for an assignment, for a mission, for a purpose that is bigger than you can ever imagine. And God orchestrated that long ago before you were even born. He brought you for an assignment, for a mission. And you are the only one who can accomplish that mission. And so many people, they have died without accomplishing this mission because they were distracted and sidetracked by jobs that they were barely struggling to make a living. And they forgot that they did not come here to make a living. They came here to make an impact. And for you to make an impact, you must learn to be honest with yourself, to know that this is who I am. This is what I was born to be doing. And you got to do it unapologetically. Okay? So after setting that foundation, setting that base, what do we do? What's the first thing you got to do when you are exiting your job? And you're doing that in a successful way. Now, you have to know that exiting your job starts before you ever resign. Exiting your job begins before you ever resign. Now, you have to be what I call your runway before you jump. All right. So for those of you who know how to swim, you notice that you don't just swim. If you want to swim, you have to. There's a platform where you stand there before you dive to swim. All right. So and you cannot just come without standing on the platform and you dive and you're expecting to swim. So you have to prepare your platform. And what that means is that as you see the picture, you have to prepare your runway to exit. Runway to exit. Right? That is something as a pilot. I remember when I was doing my pilot training, there's a long distance the plane would have to run through before it ever take off to fly. Okay, so that is so important. So if you don't have that runway, the plane cannot just start by flying. So it has to do run through the runway to gather momentum, to generate energy that it can take off. That's so important. What that means to me is that exiting your job starts long before you exit your job. For instance, friend, so when I started working in this organization, the first day I entered, I started working. I sat on my desk, I was working. I knew that I was not going to work in this organization for more than 2 years. I knew that this was an opportunity for me to serve while I prepare myself to do what God has called me to do. And I think that is how each and every one of us should take our jobs, especially when it is not something we feel like we're going to do it. We should take it as an opportunity to get what it takes to do what we have to go and do, what we're born to go and do, to live our purpose, our mission, our assignments here on earth. That is how I saw my job. So the first day I started working, not even before I started working, friend, the day I was accepted to volunteer in this organization to work, that first day, I started seeing myself and I started asking myself, what can I do to save up money to buy my equipments and materials? What can I do to save up money to buy a domain and to build my website? What can I do to save up money to buy microphones and all it takes me to be doing what I was born to be doing? Those are the questions I was asking myself. And when I started asking the questions, I developed a plan of action that every time I receive my salary, every month end, I receive my salary, I'm going to cut a particular percentage of my salary to buy equipment, to invest in what I want to be doing. And so, for those of you who are, this is a global webinar, so we have people watching from different parts of the world, from America, from Asia, Europe, and Africa. And I know that majority of the people will be from America and Africa. So in Africa, in most of the countries in Africa, people are paid every month. They are paid monthly. Not like in America here, they pay people weekly and they pay people every 2 weeks or weekly. In Africa, instead of paying people weekly or by weekly, they pay people every end of the month. And so most of the time, if you're employed in Africa, you have to work for at least 30 days before they pay you. And so in my case, every 30 days, when I receive whatever they were giving me when I was volunteering, and when I even started working after volunteering for 1 year, I would take a percentage of that money they would give me. I will either save it for a flight ticket money, or I will save it to buy a microphone, or I will save it to get my web developer to build my website for the things I knew that I was born to be doing. All right. So I did that for 1 year as a volunteer. And after volunteering for 1 year, I volunteered for almost 1 or 2 years, and then I was hired. So when I was hired, I worked like for 1 year, and I have money that I have set up to do what I wanted to do. So while I was still working, I got my website set up. I got my pages set up. I got all the things I needed set up. So by the time I have worked for 2 years, I was ready to go. And that's when I resigned. And the mistake a lot of people do is that they resign just the moment they want to resign. They feel frustrated, they want to resign. No, don't do that. If you do that, you frustrate yourself, you frustrate your family, you frustrate everybody looking up to you. So you start planning for your resign. You build your resigning pathway, platform before the day you have to resign. Resignation letter should be one of the last items in your resignation checklist. Your resignation letter, please, I want you to type this on the chat box, okay? Your resignation letter should be one of the last item in your resignation checklist. That is so important. That is so important. All right. So what are we talking about? Exiting your job starts long before you resign. So build your runway before you jump out. Take time, create connections, build relationships with the people you're working. Tell them about what you want to do before you finally do it. And so it means that you have to take time and plan and prepare and strategize before you ever get out of that organization where you are right now. And again, some people might be watching this webinar and they don't even have jobs. And they're wondering, Oliver, what the heck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Resigning? I don't even have a job before I resign from it. And if that is your case, congratulations. Good news. Your case is even more better. Your problem now is just could be that you're broke, but you are in a very strategic position to just dive into your passion. And of course, people like you, we're going to be talking about you in a different webinar. Not today. Today is about those who are working and they want to go and fulfill their assignments, that they feel they are passionately called to live, to impact the world with, to fulfill it, and to manifest here on earth. Right? So once you understand that, you have to build your runway before you jump. The second most important thing that you have to know is this, friend. Your gift is your exit strategy. I want you to type on the comment section. It's my exit strategy. All right. Your gift is your exit strategy. That is so powerful. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. What are the things that people tell you that you do best? What are the things people tell you that you do best? What are the gifts that people tell you that you have? That is so important. While I was working in the corporate, they used to give me a lot. When I travel with my supervisor, my dear supervisor, I love him so much, Mr. Joseph Kinchi. So anytime I travel with my supervisor, he will look for opportunities to speak and give to me. True story. So I remember this day we traveled to this hospital, and he went and saw the chaplain of that hospital, the head chaplain of that hospital, and the head chaplain, he negotiated with the head chaplain, and I delivered a talk after the devotion. You know, it's a Christian organization, so they do devotions like almost every single day when they come to work. So after the devotion, I gave a talk, and I was so happy. He knew that that is what actually makes me happy when I do a talk and all of that. So my supervisor negotiated most of the time in chapel, and anytime they organize workshops and seminars, and they're talking about inclusion, disability, and he will always bring me to talk about something. And I remember when I wrote my second book, it was in one of my first book, my first book, 25 things to do before you turn 30 years. And guess what? So this gentleman did a great job. So we had a workshop somewhere in Cameroon, and in the course of the workshop, he gave me 10 minutes to talk about my book, why I wrote the book, and to sell copies. And I did that, and I sold a couple of copies. People bought my book right there, and he was so gracious. You know what I mean? Now, why was he doing that? Because he noticed that I had a gift, my gift. So I wrote books, I sold the books to my colleagues, to my staff. My supervisor bought all my books that they could buy. And at times they even pay more than the average price I was selling the book. That was a way to encourage me to support my gift. You see, so I already knew that if the worst come to the worst, I can make a living from speaking and coaching speakers. I knew very well. And they knew very well that this is what this guy is really good at it. All right. So the question I have for you now is, what is your gift? Are you polishing the gift while you are at your job? Are you perfecting the gift while you are at your job? And I really appreciate people like Frobella that they go the extra mile to hire coaches to work with them in perfecting their gifts. You know, we have some amazing people here in this community, right? So you have to be able to invest in your gift, grow your gift, polish your gift, perfect your gift, and give your gift the best of the gift. Because it is a gift to you, you have to give it a gift to it as a gift. Because how do you do that? You give your gift a gift by perfecting it, growing it, nurturing it, making it look very good to be able to serve better with it. Serving not people in your community, people in your country, but people around the world that they need your gift, because your gift is highly needed by the people around the world. And so the question I have for you is, are you perfecting your gift? Are you growing your gift? And so if you're that person that you're actively investing in yourself by growing your gift, you're jacking up, gearing up your personal development abilities. Every week you have a plan, every month you have a plan, every quarter you have a plan on how you're growing yourself. I just want you to type one on the comment section. If you are doing something about your gift, you attend classes, you pay for master classes, you pay for courses, you pay for webinars, you pay for coaching, mentorship to grow yourself, to develop your gift, to discover yourself more better. I want you to type one on the comment section. Okay. All right. That is amazing. So that is how you gradually get out there with your gift. You gradually showcase your gifts out there. And that is one of the things that will make you to stand out. And you never know, who knows, by the time you're even exiting that job, you may start having opportunities right in that job that are connected to your gift. Maybe, who knows, maybe at the end of the day, there could be a new department that it's directly connected to your gift, your talent, that they could just put you there and you just fit as a perfect square in that particular fit. And who knows, because you were doing something about the gift and the result was so clear, so evident. And so while you are still in your job, take chances, take opportunities, seize opportunities. Any opportunity that comes to do what you love to do, challenge yourself and take it. Give it a try, give it a shot. And who knows, maybe at the end of the day, you may have more opportunities to do what you truly love to do. What you truly love to do. So your gift is your exit strategy. What are the things people are saying you're really good at? What are the things that people praise you so much for? And what are the things that you do them effortlessly? You just naturally flow when you're doing them. You don't go through a lot of training. You just find yourself doing them so well. Maybe you also go through trainings and you perfect those things and you just do them so well. What are those things? All right. So right now, I want you to type on the comment section. What are you really good at? What do you think are your gifts? Okay. You're watching this from YouTube Live. I want you to type on the comment section, and even to you who will be watching after, type on the comment section what you are truly good at it. Okay. We would love to know what you are truly good at it. Okay. And so moving forward, after understanding your runway strategy, understanding that your gift is your exit strategy. Now, under these gifts, I just want to share this. This is very exciting. So I have a friend of mine who's a pastor somewhere in the Central Africa, of course, in Cameroon. So I did a talk in Singapore when I came to Cameroon. So I did a training, and this my friend was part of the students I trained in that particular cohort. So after the training, I got an invitation from him to come and speak in his church. I did a talk in this church. I can't remember the length and the short of what I talked about in that church, but I talked about personal development, the importance of empowering yourself and nurturing your gift. So after the service, this my friend, Apostle Dong, sent me through his hospitality ministry. You know, in churches, every church around the world has a hospitality ministry, people that take care of guests and visitors when they come. So these people, it was just one single lady in that committee that handled this. So she took me to a restaurant that was just opposite the church, somewhere in my fall in Cameroon, in Bamenda. So they got some African meal. They call it a chew. They got a couple of stuff for me, and this lady blew my mind. This lady blew my mind. My mind was blown away by this lady. So she just got me water to wash my hands, got me the food to eat, got me the drink, and all of that. I could not even drink. At the end of the day, I had to get the stuff they got for me back home. Okay, so Now, what I'm saying is that this lady, how she handled people, guests after the service. I don't know who trained her, where she learned how to do that, but she was exceptional. She was truly exceptional at that. She was doing it so well. And if I felt like visiting this particular ministry every single year, right? Just because of that kind of a world-class standard reception that particular church gave me through that single lady that did the job, that lady who worked in that department. All right, Celestine. So you see, now because of that, when we were opening the Texas Institute of Public Speaking in Cameroon, there in Baminde, uh that lady, I remembered, I actually, we hired her to be one of our staff, and the intention were not even for her to be training people or training students, but the intention was just for her to be receiving students at the reception, talking to guests. When we have events, we just allow her to welcome our speakers, to welcome our guests. After the event, we allow her now to actually go and provide food to our guests. That was her job description when we hired her. You know why? It was because she demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that she was the one. And so the question for me is, why were we able to hire her to work with us? It was because of her gift. Now, back to you. The question is, what is your gift? What is your gift, friend? Maybe you don't have one gift. What are your gifts? What are the things that people tell you that you do them effortlessly? You have to work on that. In as much as you work in that organization, because this thing I'm talking about, though, open bigger doors, greater doors for you. Because the world is not so much interested in your skills, so much interested in everything you know. The world is so much interested in your gift to the world. What is that gift that you came on earth to do it? And maybe there's things you do and people don't really bother. People like, who cares? But there's this particular thing that when you do it, everybody is having goosebumps. Maybe the way you sing songs, maybe the way you talk to people, maybe the way you entertain people, maybe the way you write, maybe the way you work. Maybe it could just be anything. Write in the comment section. What is your gift? What is your gift? What is that thing that you're so good at it? Maybe the way you speak. You just speak so well, and people just love being around you because of the way you speak. Maybe it could just be the way you dress. Okay, some people just know how to dress so well. That could just be yours. What is your gift, friend? Because your gift is your exit strategy. I believe that this particular person I'm talking about, anywhere she goes, if she has to work in a restaurant, in the hospitality, in an airline, in a bus station, she will excel. She will just excel. She will excel because she has that gift. She has that gift. I've never seen any human being, even in America. Of course, in this part of the world, there's what we call the tip. Okay, that's not very common in Africa. So when you're coming to America or in Europe, and so especially in the country in America, there's kind of a principle law. So when you buy something from somebody, when you go to a restaurant to eat, all right, you have to prepare for a tip. So a tip is simply money you give for somebody who has provided you a service, not as a result of the payment, but because you're so happy and satisfied with the service the person has delivered to you. All right. So you give the person a tip, say that I'm giving this to say thank you for being so good at what you do. I'm giving you because of your smile. I'm giving you because of the way I felt working in your company. That's a tip. So some people have given tips to people, like literally every time I go to a restaurant, especially in McDonald's, I give a tip to the person that serves me. All right. And people have given me tips. So my clients give me tips. And so anywhere you go around the world is so interested in your gift that God gave you to give to them, not a lot of other things. All right. So that is so important. And tips, one of the reasons why tips are very important is because tips can open you doors. I remember I went to a particular restaurant and I ate there and I gave a tip to the person that served me. And after that, I started my car was not starting. And guess what? I had to check what was wrong with the battery of the car. And behold, when I locked the door of the car, I forgot to remove the key from the ignition. And unfortunately, the door of the car just locked and closed, and the key was inside. So there was no way for me to access the car or to get back to the car. And that was it. Guess what? I went back to that restaurant. I told the people working there, that especially the lady who served me, I like, this is what has happened to me. And guess what? The lady was happy that I gave her a tip. And she called her boyfriend, who actually help people to open their car doors when they have locked the key inside and there's no way for them to enter the car. And this guy, before I was shocked, this guy actually came to help me. Unfortunately, by the time he was coming, it was a little bit late, and I've already called a service to help do that. So imagine that I did not give that girl a tip. Maybe she could have cared about that, but because of the tip I gave her, that is to say, it's always good to be nice to people. You never know the next minute, like the next day. You never know what is going to happen next. So better be nice to people, because you better know what will happen next. Okay. So your gift is so important. That's the point I am underscoring here. Your gift is so important. Nurture your gift and grow your gift and perfect your gift and polish your gift, because the world is waiting to manifest your gifts. And the question is, are you going to take your gift out there, or you're going to keep your gift for yourself? And when you keep your gift for yourself, you're selfish. I don't day you not make the contribution that you are supposed to make to the world, friend. Okay, you're not going to make that contribution. So it is time for you to give your gift. And you cannot successfully exit from your job that you don't like doing it if you don't have a gift, right? If you don't have a gift, I knew my gift, so I had to work hard on my gift to perfect it, to polish it, right? And that is why I was able to successfully exit from my job, right? So today I don't think about employment, like I think about employing other people. So it was because I had to work on my gift, right? So the question, the challenge is, are you also working on your gift? All right, let's make some progress. Can somebody tap on the comment section? Let's make some progress. Let's move forward. Okay, moving forward. All right, moving forward. So what do you do after you've created your runway path, you've discovered your gift? The next thing to do is to create an exit plan. Create an exit plan. Okay, you can type that if you want to do that. Create an exit plan. That is so important. Create an exit plan. All right. So, what does that mean? To create an exit plan. So, you have to come up with a plan. I don't know how many of you here have watched the movie King Richard, acted by Will Smith. All right. And some two girls that play the role of Serena Williams and Venus Williams. So, King Richard, Richard was actually the father to Serena Williams and Venus Williams. Most of you know Serena Williams, and most of us know Serena Williams and Venus Williams. Those are some global champions when it comes to table tennis, right? So how the father trained them all and got them into the game. So now, Will Smith in this film had a game plan, an action plan, a whole plan that he wrote on how the children were going to succeed as table tennis player or long tennis players. So this is very important. Everything that succeeds in this world must have a game plan, all right? So some people call it the blueprint. When you want to build a house, you have to have the plan of the house. Okay, when you want to send children to school, you need to have a plan. If you want to organize a wedding, you need to have a plan. Want to travel abroad, you need to have a plan. Want to start a business, you need to have a plan. And so people go to the extent of writing what we call business plan. And a lot of people just make a living from writing business plans. All right. When you want to exit from your job, you need a business plan, which you might not need to call it a business plan, but an exit plan. So what that means is that you have to come out with an exit strategy. Okay. How long are you going to work? And that's a question you should be asking yourself right now. How long do you want to work where you're currently working? Now, it's not going to be based on how much money have I already saved. No, it's not how much money have I saved to exit. No. And that is where many people get it wrong. There's a difference between, having a cushion Having money saved up for 3 to 6 months that can keep you running your family, running your business, running your life after you've exited is not, that's not why you should exit, friend. What in case after 6 months of exhausting that cushion, you still can't get your business running to give you some income? What in case? So that is not what you should do first when you're exiting. The most important thing is having an exit plan. Come out with a plan. All right. So I want to say something very important here. What is really important when it comes to exiting your job is not how much money you have saved before you exit. Right. It's number one, why you want to exit, your motivation for exiting, that mission, that calling, that assignment. That should be that should be the core reason why you should exit. All right. And so it is that most that power, that impact, that mission. It is that assignment, that purpose that God gave to you that you have to take it to the world and deliver to the world. That is telling you that it is time to go. It is time to go. It is time to go. And when you start hearing that, that is the highest thing that will keep you going, even when you don't start making money yet after you've exited from your job. All right. It's not how much, because this is the mistake that a lot of people are still making. All right. They ask themselves, how much money do I need to exit my job? Instead of asking, do I have enough reasons to exit this job? Now, let me bring you back to a very interesting story. For those of you who are Christians here watching this, you may all know the story of Abraham. When God called Abraham, Abraham's name was not Abraham. Abraham's name was Abram. All right. The name was Abram. Right. Not Abraham. Now, at the age of 85 years, Abraham, which his name was Abram by then, was not having a child. And God promised him that he was going to give him a child. Now, I want you to imagine this, right? Imagine that you are at 70 years, you don't have a child. 75, you don't have a child. 80, you don't have a child. 85. And then God is still telling you that I'm going to give you a child based on the covenant I had with you, based on the covenant I have established between me and you. I mean, like some people just argue God and like, I'm tired of this, I'm done with this. But Abraham still trusted God. And Abraham trusted God so much that he believed that God was going to give him a child. And then God asked Abraham to move out of the land where he was to an unknown land that he was going to show him. Then, I mean, Abraham had to communicate to the wife, Sarah, that this is what God has said and we have to obey. It can be so challenging to come and tell your wife that, like, honey, like, hey, mine, like, hey, Lord, let's go. And your wife is asking you, where should we go to? And you tell your wife that, I don't know. Boy, imagine that you're telling your wife that, let's go. We are moving out of this country. We are moving out of this place. And your wife is like, where are we going? And you're like, I don't know, but God is going to show us. That sounds ridiculous. Sounds so crazy. It sounds crazy. But that is what happened, friend. True story. That's what happened. So Abraham told Sarah, let's go. And Sarah was like, where are we going, Abraham? And Abraham was like, I don't know. And guess what? At the end of the day, of course, Sarah believed and trusted the husband. Sarah believed and trusted the husband. And that's how they moved with Lot. So they moved, all right, from Shechem to Canaan. I don't know whether it was Shechem or Canaan. But the truth is that they moved from where they were to where they arrived, right? So what happened? What happened when they moved? The first thing that happened was that Abraham was established. The second thing that happened was that Abraham's name was changed. All right. Before the name was not Abraham, it was Abram. So name was changed from Abram to Abraham. But guess what? Then God gave him the child Isaac. Then the blessings began to multiply. Then the blessings began to grow. Then he became the father of many nations that God has promised him based on the covenant long ago that he was going to be the father of many nations. Now, this is the point I want to make, friend. Exiting your job that you're currently having right now, and you feel and you are convicted that this is not what God expects me to be doing with my life. This is not where God wants me to end my life. It has to come with faith, conviction, determination, belief, trust in the God that called you here on earth. This is so important. This is gold, guys. This is gold. I repeat that again. Exiting your job successfully, that you don't like it, that you are convicted that this is not where you want to end your life. This is not how you want to finish your life here on earth. It has to come with conviction, belief, and trust in God, just like Abraham did. Now, Abraham obeyed God so much because he knew that there was a covenant between God and him. And the covenant could not just work on the basis that him, Abraham, broke it, but God will never break it. And he could not break it. Then he knew that if God says that he's going to do it, he will do it no matter what. At the right time, he will do it. So if he does not do it, then God will die, because God does not break the covenant between man and God. And so if man, and so Abraham understood clearly that if God says that he's going to give me a promised land, he's going to make me the father of many nations, he's going to give me a child, then he will do it. And if he fails to do it, he will die. And God will not die, because if God dies, everything else will die, plus Abraham himself. And if he does not do it, because Abraham failed, then Abraham will die. And so what's the point I'm making here? When you limit yourself, you confine yourself, you case yourself to the job you are doing it because you want to provide food, you want to make a living, you want to survive, and you know very well that this is not what God has called you to be doing. You are breaking the covenant that God is having with you, that God has established with you and your great-great-grandfather, Abraham, that he was going to make you a great woman, a great man, that he was going to take you to nations. Because if he says it, he was definitely going to do it. If he says it, he's definitely going to do it. So you need conviction, you need belief, you need trust in God to move. And so when the time to move, like my friend Ferdinand Besunier will always say, when the time to move comes, what happened is that God has placed people, connections, opportunities right there waiting for you. And if you don't make that move, that decision, if you don't take it, then the connections, the opportunities that are waiting for you, strategically positioned, interjected, placed in those places by God himself, they will begin to sap away, disappear, work out. And by the time you finally resign, they are all gone. And you will not be able to have those opportunities and connections that he had prepared for you to prepare you to your destiny, to those places that he has designed for you to go and speak. And that was exactly my case. When I heard the voice, it's time to move. I honestly speaking, I had not saved as much as I wanted to save. But guess what? I moved. And when I was moving, at the point, some of my supervisors were not really happy that I was moving, because I had to be sat down, to be interviewed, to be questioned, to be cautioned by so many of my supervisors. And one of them kept me for 45 to 1 hour in his office and locked the door. And I'm like, tell me, how are you going to feed your children? How are you going to take care of your wife? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? I'm like, God said, move, Oliver Shum, and I'm moving. So I was like, I was thinking like Abraham. God says, go. And I'm going. And it's true that it was not too clear where I was going to, and I had to go. And look at it today, like I have spoken in so many great countries, right? Look at what I'm doing in the United States, coaching speakers from all around the world, creating organizations and companies, inspiring lives. Come to think about what could have happened if I was disobedient, not to have moved when I heard the voice, move. Now you'll be telling me that, oh, Oliver might be fortunate and whatever. No. You have to know the timing of God, friend. You need to understand the timing and you need to be sensitive to the spirit. That's why you must be having a very good relationship. You must be able to train yourself to listen to God when He speaks. All right. And for that to happen, you need to be attuned to the signals that God gives to you. So that's so important to have that personal relationship and that coded relationship with Him. That's so important. That is one of the reasons why Abraham was able to thrive. And Abraham, look at what happened to Abraham. Today we are descendants of Abraham because of the faith he had in God. That's what we're talking about. You must be able to listen. So it's not about how much money you serve. That money will finish. It's about what God is saying. It's about the conviction. I know you'll be asking me, how do I know that this is the right time? How do I know that this is what God is asking me to do? No, I can't answer that question for you. You got to have a personal relationship with God, and you have to answer that question for yourself, right? You got to answer that question for yourself. So you cannot ask me, no, Oliver, how can I know that God is asking me to leave this job now? No, I can't know it. You have to know it. If you have a prayerful life, you connected to the Holy Spirit, and you understand what God is saying and the season and the timing and all of that, you should know because he speaks it clearly. Now, how did I know my own? I can share with you what happened. At a certain point, the way my colleagues were treating me, I knew that the time has come. They would disrespect me, they would ridicule me, and I'm like, do you know who I am? I was not telling them that, hey, do you know who I am? Do you know that I'm a global speaker? No, I could not say that. That could have been a little bit arrogant and pride, and I don't like that. I don't want to demonstrate those negative emotions. So I was like, oh, you did that to me? You ridiculed me? Forget about the fact that I was married. Forget about that I had kids. You don't do that to people. You have to respect human beings no matter their status, everything. But at a certain point, people just disrespected me, and I knew this is not the right area. This is not the right environment. This is time to move. That disrespect is too much. I can no longer contain it. I cannot take this again. And that's how I moved. When I heard the voice move, I just took my pen, I wrote my resignation letter. I'm like, sir, I'm done. Nothing could bring me back. And that was it. It's true that someone supervisor that loves me so much, they were like, Oliver, you don't move, people that leave, they come back, all of that. We don't want you to be frustrated. We don't want you to go and come back. But I was like, if God is the one asking me to move, then I will never come back. And to date, I have always been going. By the grace of God, God has been faithful. God has kept going and blessing me and supporting me and encouraging me. And we are building until we reach the moon. We're building right to the moon, not on earth, friend. That's what I'm talking about. So you got to be crazy about what you want. You got to be crazy about that assignment, about that mission, about that purpose, because that is what brought you on earth. And you cannot afford to be lazy about it. You cannot afford to sit somewhere and be overstaying your welcome into that organization, into that company, into that environment. And people are disrespecting you, maltreating you, tormenting you, and you are folding your arms and sitting and waiting for who to come and rescue you? Why God has spoken. It's time to move. And when the time to move comes and you don't move, you will suffer the consequences. And that's why I should say, there's no place as the safest place on earth. Nothing like that. America is not safe. Cameroon is not safe. Africa is not safe. Asia is not safe because we have countries in Asia that are having troubles. In America, we have challenges, political upheavals, challenges here and there, gunshot here and there. In Africa, we have countries suffering political. The political climate is very high. It is fluctuating. It's undulating. So what happens is that people in Cameroon, they're like, oh, I wish I was in America. People in America, they say, oh, I wish I was in Cameroon. People in South Africa, they say, oh, I wish I was in Canada. People in Canada, they say, I wish I was in South Africa. Because every country has its own challenges and its own advantages and its own disadvantages, right? So the point is that the first place now on earth becomes only to people that they are operating within the framework that God has placed them on earth to operate in. You didn't get that well. The safest place on earth is that place that you are there right now because your mission on earth, your overall mission on earth entails that you should be there right now, doing the things that God placed you on earth to be doing with the people that God has wanted you to be with them at this season of your life. That's the safest place on earth. So I don't care whether you're in Baghdad or in Afghanistan or in Gaza or in Cameroon or in America or in Canada or in South Africa or in Rwanda or in Kenya. If that is where you're supposed to be now, executing the mission that you have been orchestrated on earth for, that's the safest place on earth. And if you are in the most beautiful country like Singapore right now, or Rwanda right now, and or many other countries, all right, that are relatively safer and peaceful and secure, right now. And if that is not where you're supposed to be, according to your assignment, according to the covenant, that place is not safe, friend. That place is not safe. I feel I'm preaching, but I'm not preaching. So nobody should shout hallelujah. Oh, praise God. I am not. We are on how to exit your job. And this is very important. How to exit your job successfully. Okay, what next? Create a financial cushion, not an emergency exit, right? Create a financial cushion and not an emergency exit. What do I mean by that? A financial cushion and not an emergency exit. So I talked about this somehow. So financial cushion, save at least for 3 to 6 months. All right. So that as a business is scaling up, you have some money to take care of bills. Now, that is not enough. You have to build one income stream on the side. So if your talent, if your gift is to speak, you have to build a speaking career. If your gift is to cook, you have to have a restaurant set up. If your gift is to do agriculture or rear animals, you need to have a poultry, a rabbitry, a piggery set up already with pigs inside. And you've at least started selling some of them. That is what I mean by building one income stream on the side. So you have to save up and then you have to build one income stream on the side. So you're not only depending on the 3 to 6 months saving for expenses, you are also depending on the reoccurring weekly, monthly income that is coming from that one income stream that you built. All right. And then create a timeline. Okay. So you're going to create a timeline to track everything that you are actually working on. So you have to be highly accountable. Remember, there was somebody like the manager, there was a director, there was a supervisor, there was a CEO that was holding you accountable when you are in your job. So now that you've resigned and you're kind of your own boss, which is not something that you should really boast so much about, it is good, but you just have to take it the way it is coming. You have to be steady, focused, so you don't have time to be boasting because you have work on the table to be doing. Because remember, all the time you've been working with people and then you do all the job. Yes, you do your own part of the job. Some people give account, give you report, review your plans. Now you have to do all of that alone. Think about it. So you don't have time to be gallivanting around and saying that you're the boss, you're the CEO. You have time to focus on fulfilling that mission because that job, that thing you're doing right now is more like what you already had a covenant with God to do. And who knows, you may be the only person that can do it so well. right? So you have to create a timeline, track every expense, track everything with your team members, with your sales, with the expenses, and make sure that you document so well the expenses, the receipt, the planning, the budgeting for purchasing of new items like feed, delivering supplies, and all of that. And one of the important things you don't have to underestimate is make sure you have a market for what you want to do. There should be a market for it. For instance, you cannot be resigning while you've saved 3 to 6 months and your business is starving. Like you produce these ties that people use it for their yard and you don't have a market for it. No, no, friend. That might not be very good. But again, except on extreme cases where that is you had that calling, you have to go. Right. But by the time you're going, you have at least a market, at least clients who are already paying and you're supplying to them, and you're ready to maintain that for quite some time. Things can happen, all right? Unexpected things can happen, but again, at least if you're convicted that this is what you're going to do, then you are on the safe hands. And I believe strongly that if you practice that, you're not going to come back. And finally, what are we saying? So the fifth thing you gotta do is your environment must match your destiny. All right. Your environment must match your destiny. And I'm so sorry to say that this also that in case you're currently in a job where these things do not fit you, I'm sorry about that, but there's still something you can do about that. That therefore there's a good news. Avoid job security mindset. There's nothing like job security. So I never believe in job security. If I feel like this is not the right job for me, if I was working right now, I feel like this is not the right job for me, I'm worried. Like I will successfully exit. So there's nothing like job security. So people say you have to get a job with government because of that. Well, some people that works for some people, but it never works for me. So I don't really believe in the mindset of job security. I know why. You'll be asking me why do you not believe that? Because at anything disaster can happen, right? What is the meaning of working in an organization that is draining your energy, draining your strength, draining your mental, center? And then you're only there because of the money. When they pay you the money before they notice, even if they pay you $1,000 before you notice it's finished and you have to go. Your life is so important and your time here on earth is so important that you cannot waste it on job security. If you don't want to waste your life doing things that you're not going to do because of job security, that those things, the people you have to be touching, the activities, the work you're supposed to be doing is so important because there are people whose lives are completely dependent on it. And if you don't meet these people where you're supposed to meet them, where they're expecting you, they may end their life being so frustrated and desperate because you did not meet them. You did not give to them what you were brought, what you are sent on earth to come and give to them. You didn't do that. And so you will not want to tie to a particular organization because of job security and all of that. No, have a plan, save enough, exit by starting the business and growing your business and then saving for some time that you will not have that salary. And then that's it. That's it. What again do you want? That's it. Instead of staying there and talking about job security. Now, you can die a very frustrated person, very, very poor person, if you have the mindset of job security. And that's why we have people in their 60s and 70s, they work, they retired, and they're still wishing they could work again. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Now, it's crazy in the sense that you cannot be working for 40 years, like 35 years, and then you resign and you still wish you are supposed to be working to have that salary. No. But again, this is how you can change the game. Now, you can actually resign at 90 years and 100 years if you like. Some people don't even resign. What if you work for some time in that place where you're talking about job security, save up, and then begin your business that has to do with your calling on earth, your mission on earth, your assignment, where you can work there for life, right? I'm thinking about people like TD Jakes. Okay, Bishop TD Jakes is an amazing guy. It's a good example of this. Bishop is over 80 years. He's still preaching. He's still organizing podcasts. He's still inviting people. He's still making money. Right. Now imagine that if he did not create the church, the platforms, the companies, the institution that he created, he could have long retired and he could have probably been very frustrated today. But look at him. At 80 something years, he's still touching lives. Right. Even as he's handing down the baton to the leaders in his church who are taking over, he's still doing something. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. So there's nothing like job security. You believe that works for you, that's pretty good. That's fantastic. But to me, it doesn't work for me. I don't believe in job security. So because disaster can happen at any time. So you, instead of securing your job, you have to secure your assignment, your purpose, your mission. That's exactly what I did. All right. I have never regretted for doing that. So, friend, find a community of dreamers. Okay. Find a community of dreamers. Find a community of dreamers. It is so important to find a community of dreamers. That is so crucial. Find a community of dreamers. People that think the way you think, people that identify, people that support you by giving ideas. Don't hang around with people who are negative. I don't even share my stuff to people that are negative. And in fact, if you're not really in my network, I don't share my ideas with you. So there are a lot of people here that are very good at killing people's ideas. It's crazy. So you need to be very sensitive who you share with. And the people that they cannot really see the way you see things, don't share with them because they will destroy those ideas. And I wrote in one of my books, 25 things to do before you turn 30 years. There's a concept that was so powerful. At the age of 18, when I talk of 18 years, I mean like 20, 21, 15, 16, 17, you know, that neighborhood. All right. That's something like that. When you're kind of a teenager, you just graduate from teenager to early youthful age. Everything that at times we want to do, we want to ask people, ask mom, ask dad, ask uncle, ask auntie, what should I do? Do you think this is the right decision for me to take right now? It is good to ask for those feedbacks and validation, but you have to be careful who you ask those questions to them. Because some people will bring their fear, their limitations mindset, all right, and answer your questions and block you to your destiny. And at 40 years, like, who really cares what people think about? You just go do it. You don't really bother who is thinking about what they're thinking about, how they're thinking about it. You just do it because you believe that you're matured enough to reason out what is good for you. And then at 60, 70, at that neighborhood, you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I launched this company when I was 18, when I was 20. I wish I traveled to this country when I was 21. I wish I was able to get married when I was 22. I wish I was able to listen to my instinct when I was 19 and I was thinking about taking this course, when I was thinking about visiting this place, I was thinking about beginning this idea, I was thinking about launching this company, launching this innovation, buying this plot of land, buying this house. But most of the time it's late. It's late, friend. All right? Because you asked to the wrong people. It's late because you ask the wrong people. So ask the right people questions. And you don't know the right people, ask God to direct you for those who are Christians. To the right people. Because you ask things to the wrong people, they will mislead you. That's why at times I am stubborn, because I I grew up like most of the time. I tell you this is what I want to do. If you don't give me the kind of advice that resonates with what the Spirit of God is telling me to do, I just go do what I think is right. At times. So if you know people that have worked with me, people that have been around me, you ask them. Some of the things that will tell you about me is that I'm stubborn when I come to listening to advice, because I know what I want. I know what I want. I know you know what you want. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you know exactly what you want, but every other person is telling you opposite? They're telling you just what you don't want, but you know that this is what I want. And something is telling you from within that this is what I want for you. This is what is going to teach you well. This is what is good for you. But every other person is saying that now. And there's no decision in my life I've taken and regretted. None. Right? No decision. Okay? Getting married, I've never regretted. Traveling abroad, I've never regretted. Starting companies, starting organizations, I've never regretted. Focusing on public speaking, I've never regretted. Right? Being born from the family I was born from, I did not take the decision, but I've never regretted. So why should people tell you what to do that you don't feel it and you just dive into action? It's true. We need to seek advice. The Bible says that out of the multitude of counsel, all right, people perish because of lack of counsel. But again, the greatest of the counsel is from the counselor himself, the Holy Spirit. The counselor, the adult paracletus, the helper, the counselor, another one, the provider, the protector. That's the greatest counsel. I'm not saying that you should be stubborn to your supervisor, to your parents, to your managers, to your leaders, to your husbands, to your wives, to your parents. No. What I'm saying is that listen to that inner voice, because that is what will give you peace. because your parents will not be with you for the rest of your life. All right. Your supervisors, your leaders, they will not be with you for the rest of your life. At a certain point, you need to learn how to manage your life yourself. All right. So if you pass all your life taking decision based on what X said, what Y said, what X want you to do, what Y want you to do, I don't think you'll be so frustrated. You will live your life based on what people want and not based on what you want. And you always know that most of the time, what you want, when you align that with the will of God, is going to be fire. Hmm. What a webinar. What a class. What a moment to be alive. What an opportunity. So, what am I saying? Don't live your life based on what people want. You know what you want. You know what is good for you. You know what gives you a peace of mind. So, go after those things. Do them. And 20 years from today, 10 years from today, you'll be so excited. You'll be so proud of yourself. And even as I wrapped up, I want to say this. I learned this from President Shira, one of the great American speaker and a trainer and a minister. She said, at this point of your life, I'm paraphrasing it, look at the opportunities you have. One of the opportunities you have is AI. One of the opportunities you have is the gift of the internet, technology, your smartphone. That's an opportunity. That's why you're watching right now. I'm broadcasting here and you're getting it all around the world. You have an opportunity. Maybe your parents are still alive. Maybe you have siblings around you. Maybe you are married, or you have a spouse, you have a wife, or you have children. Those are opportunities. Okay. Ask yourself, how can I get the best from each of the opportunities of my life? Ask yourself, how can I get the best? How can I make every second of this opportunity while in that country where you are? Why in that place where you are? Because of time, some people will say, I'm suffering, I'm going through pain, I'm going challenges in this country. No, you are not suffering. You are going through a training that's preparing you for the next phase of life. Even with the job you're doing right now, you don't like it. It's not, you must not quit now. You are going through a training through that job that you don't like to get to the next version of yourself. All right. See it as an opportunity to do better. And so the challenge for you is get the best of that moment. Get the best of that moment. So if you want to get married and you cannot wait to get married, that is foolishness. All right. That is very stupid. Because while you are single, you have to build up yourself. You have to prepare yourself. You have to get the best of that opportunity you have while you're single. So that when you get married, you must have tried out some things. Maybe you don't know how to drive. Maybe this is time for you to learn how to drive. You don't have a passport. This is time for you to work out and get a passport. You don't know if you don't know how to do stuff. This is the time to learn how to do the stuff. Because when you get married, you don't have the time to do some of this stuff, man. That's what I'm talking about. So make every opportunity you have right now so that when you are no longer having that opportunity in front of you, when you look back, you will not regret, but you'll be so proud of yourself that you nicked every moment, that you seized every moment, that you got every chance and you maximized it when the iron was still hot and you were able to strike the iron when it was hot. I want you to think about that. All right. And that was it, my friend. That was it for today's masterclass. I hope that blessed you, that inspired you, that motivated you. And I hope the three objectives are met. I wanted to inspire you, to give you hope more again, as God is using the masterclass to bless you or the webinar. And I wanted to help you to know exactly what to do in order to successfully exit your job. And of course, above all, I wanted to give you the framework, the methodology, okay, the model that you can use, that I also use to exit from my own job that was not really fulfilled, helping me to fulfill the purpose of God, what I really excited doing. But that was an opportunity for me to serve other people through by training myself to be doing what I'm doing today. So if this bless you, share with somebody. If this inspired you, let us know what was your take home, what you learned, and so somebody can read that and be edified as well. So thank you so much for hanging out, sacrificing time. This is 1 hour, 17 minutes that we've gone through, and you are still here live. And for that, I essentially appreciate your commitment to stay and learn. And again, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing another webinar. And let us know what you love us to talk about. If that works with our team will go through and review it and come out with what possibly can be a good fit for many other people. All right. So my name is Oliver Shom. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm a coach. I've coached very successful speakers for the past years, and I love what I do. Companies in America, in Africa. And I'm looking forward to be in Africa next year. I cannot wait. I'll be in Rwanda. I'll be in Cameroon. I'll be in a couple of countries speaking and providing opportunities and platform to my mentees and people I'm working with them in different countries. And I hope to see you there, and I hope you're going to be one of them. So if you're currently thinking about speaking and making money from speaking and coaching other people to make progress in their works, I'll be so honored to work with you to achieve your dreams and your goals. All you got to do is drop a note, and we can chat on we can chat on Zoom, we can chat on a call, WhatsApp, we can chat on email. Okay, so my assistant is going to drop my email, so you can be able to reach out to us if you need any support or any help, and we can take it from there. I just hope this blessed you, and God bless you, and may you live that assignment, that purpose that you are called to live on earth, and be so unapologetic about it, because on the last day, you're going to be judged if you did it or not, and you're going to give an account. You're going to give an account of what you did with your life. Take it from me. You're going to give an account of what you did with the resources that were given to you. I'm not emotional about this, okay? You're going to give an account of the resources that were given to you. I'm serious. So watch out. So I don't want you to give a bad account. I want you to give a good account. And it's my prayers, okay? I'm not saying that I'm already there. No, we are all in the same page, trying to see how we can get the best out of the opportunity of life, out of the opportunity of relationship, out of the opportunities, technology, AI, internet that have been given to us. So that's why we're here, trying to see how we can support and help each other. And that's why I'm doing this webinar, okay? It takes a lot of my time, but I gotta do it because that's what I love to do. So thank you so much, Prosper, very good dear friend of mine. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you stayed till now. My goodness, thank you so much, Queen Glory. Thank you everybody who participated. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I want to take this opportunity to invite you to the Africa Must Rise Global Conference starting on the 5th of December. So I'm talking about 2 days from now. So the African Global Conference is starting on the 5th of December, ending on the 7th of December. And I'm inviting you because Africa is the youngest continent in the world, full of energy. So what that means is that Africa is growing. The rest of the continents of the world, they are aging. So the future, the energy the world needs in the future is in Africa right now. And guess what? The narratives about Africa has been written, the scripts have been written by the wrong people. That's why when you go around the world, the stories you hear about Africa, you're like, is this story about Africa or a different continent? And so it is time for us to rewrite those narratives, all right? We have to tell the world what Africa is, not what they think we are as Africans. And so this is an opportunity for you to come and rub your minds with pathfinders, with trailblazers, with dreamers, okay, with innovators, with thinkers, so we can strategically position Africa again in the world map as a greater continent, not just as a great continent, but as a greater continent. And that is it. So we're going to be having speakers from different parts of the continent who will be coming, African descendants in America, in different continents. We'll be coming together to rub minds together to build up the continent by empowering our young leaders and the emerging African leaders and entrepreneurs to be able to build for centuries, for millenniums, not just for years. That's the purpose of it. And I cannot wait to have you there in the Africans Must Rise Global Conference starting from December 5th. That's 2 days from now. That's on Friday. Okay, so if you're not grabbed a ticket yet, I want to encourage you to reach out to me or to any of our team members and get your ticket because it's going to be powerful. It's going to be so great and you don't want to miss that. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much, my dear friends, for staying with us. And until we meet again, God bless you and have a nice time.